Thomas Hobbes, an English philosopher and political theorist, born in 1588, was one of the first modern Western thinkers to provide a secular justification for the political state. Born in Malmesbury, Hobbes was educated at Magdalen Hall, University of Oxford. In 1608, he became the tutor of William Cavendish, later Earl of Devonshire. In the following years, Hobbes made several tours through France and Italy with his pupil and later with Cavendish's son. In 1642, Hobbes finished De Cive on citizenship, translated in 1651, which is a statement of his theory of government. From 1646 to 1648, he was mathematics tutor to the Prince of Wales, later King Charles II. He was living in exile in Paris. Hobbes' best-known work, The Leviathan, or the Matter, Form, and Power of a Commonwealth, Ecclesiastical and Civil, in 1651, is a forceful exposition of his doctrine of sovereignty. The work was interpreted by the followers of the exiled prince as the justification of the Commonwealth and aroused the suspicions of the French authorities by its attack on the papacy. Again, fearful of arrest, Hobbes returned to England. He argues that people are motivated by primarily selfish reasons. Political order is therefore possible. He asserts only by appealing to fear. We will look into the philosophies and beliefs that are embodied in Thomas Hobbes' most famous work, The Leviathan.
According to Hobbes, the state of nature of man. So in general, in The Leviathan, there are 2 points in which Hobbes discuss about man's state of nature. The first point would be that men are equal in mind and body. Although there would be some who will be manifested as more stronger than the other, it is just because, according to Hobbes, that one can pretend better than the other. When it comes to body, the main consideration is strength. Even the one who is perceived as weak can, we say, destroy the perceived strong by using its either the hidden strategies or concealed strategies that are still effective, meaning aside from the use of force, and the other would be by uniting all those who are perceived weak to destroy the one who is perceived as strong. When it comes to equality in mind, it would mean that each one of us is wise in our own way, as this can be charged in experience, and experiences are bestowed in all of us. Only that, it does not come at the same time to all of us. So, again, the first point of Hobbes would be men are equal in both mind and body. The second point would be that men are in constant war with each other. Because of the equality that I mentioned earlier, it is naturally for men to be self-centered, and thus conflict is unavoidable. There are 3 main sources of conflict: competition, diffidence, and reputation. It is highly possible that one good is desired by 2 or more men. Because of his being selfish, he will do everything that in a way he would get or achieve that desired good, and that is through the use of force. Diffidence would then mean the security of oneself and the gain good. So Hobbes explained that the best way to secure oneself is the use of anticipation. It is the most reasonable and the best way. So the use of force could always be used by this person, by a man, in order to protect or secure himself and the gain good, and he can use this until he sees it as necessary. Next would be reputation. It is innate in man that he sees himself as higher other than the rest. So he wants this outlook to be expressed also by the others. And in instances where one does not agree with him, here is where the conflict occurs. So in war, everything exists for himself, and the rest cease to exist. There are no industries, no society. Although there is no justice, injustice, no right and wrong. The main reason for this is because there are no actually laws existing during war. And the only virtues that one can use is either blood or force. So that is how Hobbes sees state of nature of man. Okay, so actually what you said is true. So in connection to that, I will now discuss about the social contract according to Hobbes. So in Leviathan, contract is understood as a mutual transferring of right among men. And right refers to the right of nature, which is the liberty of man to use his own power and the preservation of his own life. Liberty in absence of external impediment. So all men is in a condition of war, and every man holds the right of doing anything he likes. But for example, if a man would lay down his right to anything, he is taking away his liberty to hinder another of the benefit of his own right. Thus, whatever you want others to do to you, you should also do it to them. So right is laid down into manners, either by renouncing it or by transferring it. So by renouncing, a man does not care who will be receiving the benefits. And by transferring, benefits are intended to some or to specific persons. But the main goal of renouncing and transferring of right is mainly for a man's security and for the means of preservation of one's life. So therefore, man should secure himself. That is why he is forbidden to do that which is destructive for himself, and man is ought to endeavor peace. So because if men are capable of observing contracts in a peaceful manner, even without enforcement from a sovereign authority, then there is no need for a government. But we all know that the state of nature of man is brutal or selfish. So we must create a sovereign authority that would ensure the effectiveness of peace. And the best form of state is the one who produces security and peace of the people. So social contract, according to Hobbes, is made between subjects and subjects, not between subjects and the sovereign. So the contract creates the sovereign, therefore the sovereign is not entitled to any contract. And the sovereign is not liable for any conflict, fraud, negligence in a contract.
So I agree. So let me discuss about the Commonwealth according to Hobbes. A Commonwealth is a sovereign which the people so authorizes to govern them. It is more than the consent, but rather the agreement and unity of all the governed. It is made by the covenant in such a manner that every man should say to everyone that I authorize you and give up my right of governing myself to this man or to this assembly of men on the condition that you give up your right to me and authorize all your actions in the like manner. This is the generation of the great Leviathan, as we know as the work of Hobbes, or to speak reverently, as the mortal God to which we owe our peace and defense. By this authority given to the sovereign by every particular man in the Commonwealth, he has the use of so much power and strength that by terror of this power he is enabled to form the will of all the people and to peace at home and mutual aid against his enemies. The Commonwealth is called civitas in Latin, and the sovereign in the Commonwealth is not subject to civil laws. For having the power to create laws, he may, when he pleases, free himself from that subjection by repealing those laws that trouble him and making new ones. There are two ways in order to attain sovereign power in a commonwealth. The first is the natural force, like the obligation of the children to follow their father, or when one will his enemies in a war with the condition of their lives. The second one is the political commonwealth, wherein men confer among themselves that they submit their rights to a man or an assembly of men with the condition that he protect them from against all enemies.